Hello friends, I am here in beautiful Flagstaff, Arizona in the forest with some mountains behind me, and I am kind of taking a break right now from editing and putting together the big book from my big trip, my road trip around the Colorado Plateau. So I thought I would update you a little bit on the status of the book and also share with you just a little bit about my creative process. It's a question that I get pretty often, so I thought I would do that now. One thing that I want to mention is that this is different from all my other books because there's a free version of the book for everybody, and that is for those of you that are on my mailing list. So if you aren't on my mailing list, go to my website, snapchick.com. It's in the upper right, and get on the mailing list so you can get a free download code. So, okay, let's start. I have 10 steps that I kind of jotted down here for my creative process. Number one is the basis for everything, and that is timing, light, and location. I make sure that I'm out all of the time, sunrise, sunset, during the day, whenever I can, getting a lot of photos, because if I set that base, everything else is going to be a lot easier. Number two is something, a part of this process that I've never done before and that didn't exactly work out. And it's that I brought this little tiny composition notebook and I took notes in it at different points in the trip. And I thought I was going to be able to scan the notes in and put it next to photos, but it didn't work out. The notes are just too big when I shrunk it down, and it just didn't work out. But it was a part of the process this time around, and I might try it again. Number three is once I get all my photos into the computer, I pulled everything into Lightroom this time. I don't always use Lightroom. This time I just used Lightroom. So I go through and the first thing I do is down select. I had over 1,800 images this time. So I go through and I reject photos, and then I go through again and I reject photos. And I'm looking for photos that are beautiful and that also tell the story of this trip. Because that's the whole point of my books, is that I want to tell a story and bring you into this trip. Towards the end of doing these, this down selecting, I'm looking for pairs of photos, really. I'm looking for, ways to tell the story, and I'm looking for pairs because it does end up in book form. For my Grand Canyon patrons, they get an actual hard copy of this book. So, they're looking at side-by-side images, and that's kind of how I intend for people to be able to look at it. Even if you're looking at it on your computer, pull up the, 2 per page view so that you can see everything side by side. Also towards the end is number 4 in my process, and that is that I start editing the images. Even if I don't know that I'm going to use them, I edit them up. Now, because of step 1, timing, light, and location, I don't do a ton of editing for my images, and this was no exception. Some of the things that I relied on this time around were the dehaze tool that helped me bring details back in the sky, especially those times when I was out hiking in the middle of the day and the skies were really bright. Likewise, I brought shadows up sometimes. And then I did some individual color saturation adjustments because I was in situations where there were these incredibly orangey red dirts and rocks. And that comes through really well on the camera, but sometimes the greens and sometimes maybe the blues need to be brought up a little bit. So I did that. Okay, number 5. Number 5 is making my final choices. So I'm making these final choices, but I'm also knowing that there need to be some alternates because of number 6, where I actually print out, at least this time I did this, I actually printed out proofs of everything. I did 2 per page, and I used my just black and white laser printer and printed out all of these images, cut them in half so I had each one. I had the file name on them. I laid them all out down my hallway side by side so I could visualize what this book was going to look like and what you would see. And I just wanted to make sure that I was really telling the story. So I did that. I moved things around from what I initially thought was going to be the order. I substituted some of those alternate images and got it all to where I wanted it to be. And then number 7 is that I went through and I actually numbered each page so that I had that record of what I wanted the order to be, because in the past I've kind of gotten mixed up. I mean, I'm dealing with over 60 images here. I've gotten mixed up and then been like, wait, what was the order I wanted? And then, I have to reorder things, and that just doesn't make me happy. So, so I did that. I also then numbered the images that I want in the free version of the ebook and got that all nailed down. Number 8, I use Photoshop to then actually lay out the each page in the book and then make the PDF that I then upload and for you all to download, excuse me, and to send to the printer. Something here that is kind of the reason this book is taking me so long, and something that I've never done before, is that I am including camera, lens, and settings for every single image in the book. Actually, that's not true. There's like 2 or 3 or 4 images, like the covers and like the first couple of images, that it messed up my aesthetics to put the settings on there, so I didn't. But all of the other ones have all of the settings, and that's been a commonly requested thing and something that I knew was going to take me a long time, so I've never done it before. I did it this time. And I also added little stories about so many of the images. I wanted to make sure that you knew where I was for each of these images. Step 9, check, recheck, check, open it on the computer, open it on another computer, open the file on my iPad, make sure that everything looks good so that every single one of you sees the book through my eyes, kind of, in this adventure through my eyes. And then step 10 is that I also go through and edit all of the video, because I have so much behind the scenes video. Oh my gosh. Okay, so those were my steps. And if you want to make sure you get a free download code, make sure you're on my mailing list. And, as I'm kind of going through this, I'm realizing that there's a lot that goes into this, and I could definitely do a more detailed video on it if you're interested. I could show you the screen, I could record my screen as I'm doing things in Photoshop and all of that. Let me know if that's something that you want to see, because I can definitely spend the time and do that if you are interested. And that's it, everybody. I will be sharing the actual book with you on Monday, so definitely check back. I'm sure I'll be posting it everywhere on social media, on YouTube and everything, so check back. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.